All right, hello and welcome to the Benzo Rehab Dungeon Religious Deconstruction episode number 10. We're on now. It is the 5th of September 2021. I am joined, as per usual, by Jacob, friend of the dungeon, all around stand-up human being, wino degenerate.
Oh, weekend wino.
Yeah, weekend wino. It's like weekend warriors, weekend winos.
Yeah.
I'm gonna preface this conversation with I have been putting myself into an alcohol-induced psychosis for the last 3 days. I had Friday off, and I also have tomorrow off, which is Labor Day.
Labor Day.
Yeah, Labor Day. So yeah, I take no accountability for anything I say, and none of my words matter. So
have we ever though?
No, we've really kind of played it fast and loose with accountability.
I think considering some of the you at least I don't think have issued any calls for violence, whereas I
did the other day. I said that on my Instagram story, I said that anyone that reports an abortion in Texas should be killed. Just strangle the fuck out of them. Like why even fucking play with that anymore? I'm sorry. just fuck you, man. Like I fucking hate this, like, oh man, well, it's the law, so if somebody does it, then it's unfortunate, but it's the law. And it's like, no, just fucking kill them. Like,
right. Well, I mean, what's kind of wild too is like that particular rider is like, it's literally the gig economy of cops. It's the Uberification of law enforcement.
For sure. I had somebody reach out to me, and they're not native to America, so they didn't understand. Not native America, like as a Native American. Yeah, they're not American, so they didn't understand quite the way that the law works, which is that, like, it's only upon like a successful prosecution that you're gonna see anything out of it. And so they were like, well, why isn't anybody just like making false claims and then like getting their 10 grand and walking away with it? And it's like, well, these disingenuous fucks actually had the foresight to know what they were doing.
Yeah.
But anyways, today's topic is liberals. We hate them, don't love them, and God, maybe Jesus, I don't know, or Allah, his name be praised.
Yeah.
I just offended like 5 different groups right there.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get it up to double digits by the end of the app.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think obviously, I don't want to index this too much to the Texas bill, just because it's too hot for me, frankly.
Wow, something's too hot for you.
It is. I will say though, I think I think I sent you something the other day where
I have no recollection of that, but please go on.
Most of the takes that I've seen coming out of centrist liberals or progressive blue checks is that this is there's no mention of evangelicalism. It's purely
I swear to fucking God,
I've seen the propositions are, this is a war on women. I saw someone assert unironically that this is about ensuring the continued cycle of intergenerational poverty by, forced births, keeping.
I wish these demons were that like insightful, right?
No, that's the thing. These people aren't wrong, but they're not wrong. It's just that for them the buck stops there, where there's it's these people are praying to the golden calf of intersectionality. They're not realizing that Texan legislators are fucking Bible thumpers. If they do. Obviously, they don't not know that, but
well, yeah, that's what I've been losing my mind about. Is there's a friend of the dungeon that talks to me on Instagram all the time. One day I'll have him on the show. He's a very nice person actually, and he sends me the worst liberal political cartoons that he can find. And for the last week, it has been nothing but the Texas Taliban. Texas is just like Afghanistan now. Two fucking fat, unshapely people on a couch looking at the news, and the wife's like, is this Afghanistan? And then like the fucking fat, flumpy, disgusting husband is like, no, it's Texas. America, the land of freedom, has become like the Afghanistan terrorist Taliban. And it's like, this is completely internal. It has nothing to fucking do with Afghanistan. Nothing.
Right. No one's getting their hands chopped off yet.
I think they should. I'm actually if you use your hands to report an abortion, you should have your hands chopped off. I'm going down that road.
I don't know. I don't.
Sorry. I'm just talking over you.
I'm gonna abjure on agreement or disagreement. But my favorite of that genre of cartoon has been the one where it's like a group of women in which one is more complete, niqab or hijab? The one where it's like just complete blackout. I think it's
niqab is the
where it's like
one. I think
where it's like they're saying.
I'm pulling up Google Chrome on the side over here to.
But it's a group of women in niqab saying "Pray for Texas," and it's like, bro, like if you are
this is so fucking rude. I looked up niqab, and it looks like niqab is the more complete covering one.
So it's the one that the Taliban mandates.
But the first result I get is like a sexy niqab black burqa dress that shows on the side of me.
I'm not usually like the anti-cultural.
Oh, no. Burqa is the most complete covering. It's where you even have like the visor over the eyes.
It's like, can you imagine how fucking psychotic you have to be to imagine that women in Afghanistan right now are saying "Pray for Texas"? Like the level.
That's fucking insane.
Like one, this is gonna. I don't think this is wrong, but hey, take a straw poll of anyone in fucking Afghanistan.
Right. Do they care about Texas right now? Yes or no?
Do you know about what's going on in Texas? Hey, have you heard of Texas? Right. I mean, think about it. Like, there's all sorts of polls of people in Afghanistan who like don't even know what 9/11 is. You know what I mean? Like,
no, of course not, because
it's a fucking tribal. It's a tribal. Yes.
And Al Qaeda and the Taliban are two separate groups, and you tell people that, and they're like, "What?
What? Yeah,
the Taliban was like immediately willing to give up Osama bin Laden, like when
said no.
Yeah, and we were like, no, we need to bomb the shit out of you because we're mad at you."
Right.
Dude, I said this. I forget. I think it was the episode that I did on Haiti, the regular show, and like, how many mercenary groups exist in the U.S. that like actively participate in coups in other countries, right? Mm-hmm. And then, we get mad at Afghanistan because Al Qaeda is like fucking around in like the far reaches of the desert and like just happened to stage an attack against the US out of this like completely like Afghanistan as a country doesn't even actually really exist in the minds of the Afghan people. Really,
Yeah.
it's a tribalist sort of
That's why
environment.
that's why the Afghanistan National Army has failed. That's why the Northern Alliance
Yeah, because
has,
they don't have any
you
like
know,
the concept of like you have to have a state and a democracy like doesn't fucking mean anything to them because they don't agree with that, and that's fine. That is their own form of self-determination
yeah.
to disagree with that mode of politics and mode of government. And we went over there like, yeah, we're gonna hold you all fucking accountable for something that you didn't even actually do. It's a Saudi Arabian
Right.
extremist who
I mean, it's literally
honestly has some good points if we're being like fair.
but you take it one step further. It's literally a Saudi state-funded um, operation. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, this is, I think, a little afield of what we usually do here, but like, I mean, the relationship between the Bush family and the House of Saud is incredibly deeply entrenched.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Happy Bush, HW, was a company man his entire fucking life. You know, the notion that, you know,
What's so bizarre about all this too is like how much liberal media is trying to like rehabilitate the Bush family.
yeah, well, and then and part of that too is the degree to which any 9/11 trutherism, well, the degree to which all 9/11 trutherism is lumped into the sort of, you know, loose change, batshit
Yeah.
camp. Whereas, you know, there's plenty of available declassified information where we don't, to me, like, I've never been interested in this science
It's
aspect.
almost certain that our government knew that something was going to happen.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like, so there's that famous picture of Bush when he's in the classroom, and you've got the guy leaning in to tell him. And what most people don't realize is that's he's actually being told that the second tower is coming down or has
Yeah.
been hit. Not that the first one happened. Like, he went into that fucking room knowing. And now I think it's ludicrous to say that, you know, it's funny, but it's ludicrous to say Bush did 9/11. Bush didn't do 9/11. I mean, Al Qaeda did 9/11,
Yeah,
but
of course.
the sort of either through incompetence or you know, a more concerted effort, you know, with the knowledge of, or with the CIA's knowledge. That's not to say it was done at their behest. I don't think that's the case. I don't know how you could. That's too strong of a claim for me.
No,
But
for sure.
what I wanted to say though was, you know, the way that that any degree of 9/11 scrutiny by centrists or liberals, you know, it's treated as this kind of, there is a pseudo religious fervor with which it is just out of hand regarded as crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
and even, like, it's super funny too. Like right now, I don't know if you've seen Spike Lee is getting dragged through the
No.
mud in Hillary because he's got I haven't seen it, full disclosure, but I guess he's got a 9/11 doc out on HBO.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
and he gives, I guess, a relatively significant amount of airtime to quote unquote conspiracy theorists. And so,
So so
in
this is something that like the liberal media does a lot, and I hate to have those words fall out of my mouth because I feel like I'm like walking on the wrong side of like what I should be talking about to some degree. Like the liberal news media, I should be on Fox News saying that, but like I would,
the New York Times.
yeah. But yeah, no, it is true that, and one of the things we're seeing it with, and one of the things that's been making me like lose my fucking mind lately is all the stuff about ivermectin, and it's like, you know, anytime you hear somebody say ivermectin, um, and nominally kind of like left spaces are all like, oh, he's promoting ivermectin, or they're promoting ivermectin, and it's like so disingenuous the way that this is being treated, where like, yeah, Bush did 9/11 is like a shit post thing to say, but
Yeah.
what it's like, kind of the meme about it is that you're like just calling into question like the popular narrative of what happened on 9/11 and the narrative that was used to draw us into this 20-year fucking war that got us nothing, killed hundreds of thousands of people, and has displaced millions more, and like
and wound up reinstalling the Taliban with a more sure foothold in Afghanistan than
we
they
did
had.
nothing but validate the Taliban.
Right. Well, and I mean, the funny thing too with, I mean, put it out there. You know what? Don't fucking go down to 4-H and raid their ivermectin supply.
No.
But as far as I know, it is something that does have human therapeutic uses. I know it's different.
Yeah, but no, I don't think ivermectin is like a good thing for COVID. No,
but the point
it is used. There is a human use for it. Yeah. Newsflash.
Right.
Humans, not different than any other kind of animal. We're mammals, and horses are also mammals. Yeah, and it turns out that like certain things that horses have as like, you know, flesh and fucking lungs and stomachs and whatever, just like humans do, there are certain applications for medicines, you know, that cross species. We're literally talking about a fucking disease that bridged the gap between a certain kind of mammal and to humans now.
Literally the point of gain of function research. Gain of function research is all about scaling non-human diseases.
And I want to be very clear. I'm not saying that ivermectin is a good idea, because it's not.
It's a bad idea.
It is a bad idea. But the disingenuous, horrible thing that's happening right now in liberal media is that like Joe Rogan, he's taking ivermectin. He's on horse drugs. No, he's not. He went to a fucking doctor. He got prescribed the human variant of ivermectin. He's a disingenuous shithead in that he'll like.
Yeah. Do you really think that someone who got $100 million deal with Spotify is going
to the fucking? He's just like freewheeling with his health choices.
Freebasing ivermectin. He's got the best fucking doctors in the. Fucking Rogan could get the same caliber of doctors that treat presidents.
Yeah, absolutely. If Trump's fat, disgusting ass can fucking live through COVID, I'm pretty sure Joe Rogan, he pumps a lot of like fucking bullshit health stuff, and he's on like supplements that people probably shouldn't be on, but he is a healthy person overall.
Right. What would have been a really fun twist in the timeline was when Trump got COVID. Like, remember all those statues of him that were like naked and they were just portraying him as like grotesque, and they were like problematic, as the libs like to say, because they were, you know,
body. Of course, yeah, it's fat shaming, and I say that immediately after I called Trump a fat piece of shit.
But can you imagine, like, it would have been a fun twist in the narrative if after Trump survived COVID, the libs were like, wow, if that fat piece of shit can survive COVID, maybe COVID's not fucking real. And it like just,
that would have been a very funny like turn in the conversation.
Because I mean that was pretty much, well, that was sort of the batshit anti-vax take was, well, if the president got it, that
no, this is something that people forget. There were so many fucking like blue check mark Democrat libs on Twitter saying, you know, shit like, I don't trust this vaccine from this horrible, degenerate president.
Yes.
And then immediately after Biden comes in, and something else that needs to be talked about that isn't really being discussed in a lot of circles is, I've been forced back to work in office. I'm pretty sure you've been forced back to work in office. Like nobody's working from home like they were anymore. Right. And the Delta variant, which is real, sorry everybody, it's not just a fucking conspiracy. What happens when viruses don't have any containment or anything like that is they fucking evolve because they're like incredibly efficient at evolving. And now we have this variant out that's like probably illegitimizing the vaccine that we made. Yeah, and Joe Biden is president, and where is the fucking outrage there? That like None of, like, what happened to the eight? I got more money given to me by Donald Trump than I did Joe Biden, and I think Donald Trump is a horrible human being that needs to be drugged behind a truck, but I can at least, understand the material benefit there.
No, but again, that's like this. It's just the nature of complete, uncritical, ideological adherence to, vote blue no matter who. On the other side,
and it's not. I would actually correct you on that and say it's not an ideology. It's a sports game, right?
Sure, yeah.
Like, and a concrete ideology would be like what we're doing, which is where we're saying, wow, red or blue, these people just want us to fucking die for capitalism.
Yeah, they want it to be a fucking knife fight.
And liberals actually have no fucking ideology except for like an aesthetics of propriety, right?
Yeah, no, it's all about material or not material, representational kind of smoke and mirrors. And that though, also to tie it back to what we were intending to talk about, was the whole
we've gotten way off track here, and this is all my fault.
I mean, this is I mean, that is sort of the frustrating thing between the Democrats and the Republicans, to just kind of limit it to the two-party system, is that, like, again, like I said, a vast majority of Republican legislators are religious zealots.
Yeah,
they have a belief system. Their belief system, because it's rooted in, something like the Bible, there's not much arguing with it. Whereas the Democrats, like you say, like there is no ideology, or there's no underlying framework. There's no sort of lodestone, or lodestar or cornerstone where you can point to it and say, okay, this is what undergirds their their platform, their program.
There was an article that came out recently. I'm gonna try to make this interjection brief. There was an article that came out recently that showed that the DSCC believes that running on women's reproductive rights is going to be good for fundraising in the next election cycle. That is how the Democratic Party forms itself. They go, what does, like, the most basic form of aesthetic politics that we can run on?
Well, it's completely reactionary too.
Yeah, it is completely reactionary. They're not using a concretized ideology to say we believe in women's productive rights. They're saying, oh, hey, we can actually benefit if we run on this platform. That's what they're running on.
Well, and they're being goaded into running on that because of conservative legislative successes.
Yeah. Like, and yeah, it's a trap, honestly. Like, I agree with women's reproductive rights, but running on that platform as like a solitary thing is a mistake. Like, you should have something beyond.
And I mean, that's what happened in 2016 too. Was the Democrats had or have sort of yoked their cart to the browning of America and demographic shift, and thought that was something that would get Hillary Clinton elected, which is
and I can tell you, as somebody who's I live in Southern California, I work blue collar jobs, so I end up around a lot of brown people. Your average brown person is not a liberal.
And there's leftists. There's a great scholar. Oh man, I'm gonna have to look up his name. I think he's in the state school system of Georgia. Black guy. He's a political theorist, and part of what he talks about is, so last year he had some really great commentary on why Bernie has had trouble getting traction with black voters. And this guy basically just says, like, look, uh, social values are a thing. Black voters are, I don't know about overwhelmingly, but to a significant degree, culturally conservative.
Yep.
There, and he makes the point too. And there's another guy, Keith Warren, who I studied with. Was it Keith Warren? Kevin Warren? Something Warren at University of Chicago.
K. Warren.
Yeah, he's really good friends with Adolph Reed, who I think most people will recognize that name. He was at Penn, and
Adolph Reed is a king for sure.
Yes, love him. But the whole point is that the Democrats don't have to do anything for the black community. The Democrats have snowed the black community into thinking, and they're not deluded. I mean, like that because that would be really patronizing to say of
no. When that's something I agree with completely. Is like even your average Southern Republican is not like delusional.
No, it's a reciprocal sort of taking advantage of, but I mean they don't have to do anything because I don't know what would have to happen.
It's the party that says black people should die less.
Yeah, exactly. It's not. Yeah, and
you've got one party that will actually shoot a black person in like broad daylight and be like, no, this is fine, this is cool, this is how society's supposed to function. And then you've got the party that says, we're going to put on kente cloth and kneel, and we're not going to do anything about the violence, but, we're going to at least present that we don't want to kill black people.
Right. And then, of course, to your point about, getting X number of dollars under Trump versus X number of dollars under Biden, who returned multiple times over the amount of money given to cops? That was Biden. Yep. But like Biden's spending plans have been incredibly kind and generous to the police. Yeah.
It was funny because Trump was like such an incompetent doofus asshole, right? Like he would fund the police, but he didn't know how to run the machinery of America.
Frankly, you kind of want a president who's incompetent and a wild card, because the competent ones, Obama, consummate fucking politician and friend of, to jump back to the CIA, great friend of the CIA.
That's one of my major, like, I don't think people realize how dangerous Biden's like love for the intelligence is.
I'm talking about Obama. I'm sure.
No, I'm saying like, building off of that, like, Obama was incredibly invested in the intelligence community. Trump was antagonistic to the intelligence community, and so like all these coups that we would have pulled off in Latin American countries didn't happen because Trump just had no idea like how to fucking port power with them.
But even to slice it a little finer, though, Trump hated the CIA and the CIA hated him. Mm-hmm. The FBI as a national system hated Trump and he hated them. But also worth saying that the New York field office had a cozy relationship with Trump because they were running
field. Reason for
that. Who, Felix Sater was an asset to the FBI and was also in its inner circle. Like the notion that, I mean, Ben, what were we talking about? CIA,
Obama, intelligence, CIA,
our lack of intelligence.
Yeah.
No,
I'm in an alcohol-induced psychosis right now. So
it's Sunday. It's the Lord's Day. In theory, I should be in church right now. Oh, did I tell you actually? My new place is next to a Jehovah's Witness Kingdom Hall. So that's a lot of fun.
So you've been beating off in the windows, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, what I did was I went down to the grocery store and got a bunch of birthday and holiday decorations and like balloons and shit and put that up around their building because they don't do holidays or birthdays because they're of Satan or something. Yeah, but man, this has gone all over the fucking place, man. This has been a frenetic, schizophrenic fucking conversation, more so than usual, I think.
Yeah.
This is the first
I haven't been in a good place for the last couple of days.
Well, this is also the first one we've done in like what, like a
no, we've been chatting on the sidelines, but you've been MIA for weeks now.
Well, shit happens, man.
No, I understand. Life has been complicated.
Right. But yeah, I mean, we were talking about the whole the sort of the bigotry of low expectations that the DNC has for black voters. That they can just account for them showing up. Because part of it is like, look, the relationship there is the devil I know is the better than the devil I don't know, and there's nothing that the Republicans have nothing to offer to black voters. And like you say, the Democrats have something that it is better. Like
they have like at least the performance pieces of not wanting to kill black.
It's not, well, I mean, like I think to be charitable, it's not just theater. Like there's a high degree of theater involved, like you say, the kente cloth stunt. Defund the police, Black Lives Matter in one breath, and then in the next fucking breath, you've got Joe Biden giving the police fucking, whatever the fuck, billions of dollars.
Well, what's going to be interesting is now that we're fully pulled out of Afghanistan, the military equipment that the police are about to get is just gonna fucking astound people, I think.
Well, I think you posted that thing about the fighter jets practicing taking off on freeways.
Yeah, like, we've got it's fuck, what do they call them? AC-10s.
They're like anti-personnel fighters, right? Like
they're specifically for like killing people on the ground. And they were practicing takeoffs and landings on American highways, specifically, like for the intent.
So revisit the conspiracy thing, though. This is what's so fucking annoying about like the conservative conspiracy theories. So like QAnon notwithstanding, I don't know do you remember Jade Helm?
Yeah.
Like, dude, fucking that wasn't a thing. Like
no.
The conservatives always go to just these fucking batshit corners of logic, like beyond.
So here's how you know what a genuine conspiracy is, and what a like a disingenuous conspiracy is. If the conspiracy says the government's trying to kill us, we need to elect Republicans or Democrats, that's fucking false. That's obviously a fucking lie. If the conspiracy says the government's trying to kill us and it just stops there, that's probably where it's like an actual legitimate plot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, but it's like part of it's like. Well, and I mean, you can say the same thing with the whole conservative anti-vax sentiment too, where it's like, they're trying to microchip us. You know what?
To what avail? To what avail?
The state is the definition of the state that I generally subscribe to is that the state has the monopoly on legitimate violence. The state has an absolute right within the law and, extrajudicial to do whatever it wants. The notion that it is bound by laws is fucking insane. And what I would point to is the CIA's track record. Yep. The CIA its mandate is completely external to the borders of the United States. It's done all sorts of shit here.
They act with complete impunity.
Judicial drone strikes. But so the point is, like, the government does not need the government or whatever putative new world order exists does not need to engineer a fucking viral outbreak to chip. That is ludicrous. It can do it anytime it wants, but it doesn't. You know why? Because it doesn't fucking need to. That's not there. There are so many banal ways of monitoring people and enslaving people. And you know what it is? It's debt, it's social media, it's shitty fucking processed food. You know, like there is no need.
And you think about like, you know, when you talk about like a state control apparatus, like exactly what you're saying is like all these banal forms of control. Like the state doesn't care about you individually. The state is trying to manage you as like hundreds of people, right? So it's collecting your metadata and incriminating you based on your metadata. It's not like I'm listening to your conversation, you know, and you know, this is very evident in the drone program, where, you know, 9 out of 10 fucking targets were unintended, you know, just external to who they were actually trying to kill.
Right. Well, even in the strike last, well, I guess 2 weeks ago,
where we killed fucking 7 kids.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's like, huh?
That's how the fucking state controls. It controls by saying, oh, we think this one guy is guilty. Everybody around him is guilty. Let's go ahead and bomb the whole thing.
Kind of insane to me. Like, you know, what? For the sake of argument, you know, if we accept in criminal courts, you know, to convict someone, you know, beyond a reasonable doubt or preponderance of evidence, whatever. I honestly, like, I would like to know what the benchmark or threshold they need to meet to launch a drone strike. It's got to be pretty fucking low, you know?
Oh yeah, no, it's incredibly loose. That's fucking Daniel Hale, the guy that was, you know, just jailed over releasing info about the drone program. That was his like breaking moment in like his career was. I just watched people get murdered because they were around a guy that we think might be guilty.
Right. Well, and a point worth making apropos of whistleblowers too is the degree to which Obama pursued whistleblowers. Obama was so fucking virulently anti-whistleblower.
Well, because the excuse is always there are the proper channels to report these things through, right? Right. And who controls the proper channels? The people who are trying to make it so that you can't whistleblow.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the fact that there's proper channels, obviously, that's why you know, the police appropriately deal with people who you know, illegally execute Black people, right? Yeah. Like, it's completely incoherent. You know, on one hand, we're supposed to
without the advent of the cellular phone camera. Right. How much Black murder would happen without anybody ever knowing it? And it's because the proper channel, which, you know, somebody like Chris Dorner goes through, doesn't work, and it's intended to not work, and then he has a little fun and ends up here.
I didn't know Chris would ever come up on the show. I actually don't know.
You can't corner the Dorner. He lives in the back of my mind.
Jesus, man, fuck.
I did give the preface that I'm in an alcohol-induced psychosis right now.
That's yeah.
Chris, is that you? Sorry.
Take me with you.
Why is everything white right now? I can't see.
do the Nicholas Cruz, like, oh, there's demons in here. The demons made me do it. It's like we need that meme where it's like, is this Chris Dorner in the room with you right now? You know.
I'll make it later, maybe. That would be great.
Yeah, but yeah, this is going all over the fucking place, man. I mean, you know, it's funny. I just part of my frustration too with like liberal to like really tie it back to what we said we were going to talk about, like this liberal, to me, really what it is an inability or unwillingness to countenance or accept that there are people who do have it. When I say people, I'm, obviously liberals realize the Taliban are religious fundamentalists, but for whatever reason, the like I said, the buck always stops with these social issues in the context of American politics, where it's this completely sort of sociological or secular issue, when there are deep-seated religious grounds, illegitimate though they may be, for Republicans doing what they do. And I, like, the reason that I get so frustrated is because I, as a person who is irreligious, that's the word I would use to describe myself. I'm not an atheist, I'm not an agnostic, I'm irreligious.
I think I would agree with that for myself too. I used to be a militant atheist, but now I'm just
right. But to me, the question of whether God exists or not, or the nature of God, is so, unless it's strictly indexed to like a given tradition, is so uninteresting to me. But the point being, I come from a Catholic Midwestern family. Many of my family members are single issue voters, that being abortion. I grew up middle class, extended family, and my dad grew up blue collar. A lot of what is frustrating to me with the liberal disregard for the religiosity of conservatives is I mean, it's probably reductive and a little bit wrong to say it, but it is a little bit of like coastal elitism. It's people not realizing how fucking backwards the Midwest is. And I will completely accept and go to bat and agree with that proposition. The Midwest and the South and the flyover states of fucking, Okie, Kansas, whatever.
We can abstract this in a way. We can say, what is the Midwest? The Midwest is considered the heartland of America. And America is a completely corrupt, horrible, broken country. So the heartland obviously has some social ills if we look at the rest of the country.
Yeah, the heartland is got fucking clogged arteries, and it's all, I mean, it's, and I think, and this is something too. So I actually wrote a paper about this in grad school. Where
this guy literate.
I went to grad school. Hey guys, I'm at the University of Chicago. I'm kind of like, how smart, man.
I can read words on paper.
I can read and talk and spell really good, guys. Like, I'm really smart. I was in a class that was on, it was called The Rise of the Global New Right. And it was basically a historical, it's sort of two sections. Like, it's kind of silly that it was called The Rise of the Global New Right, because so most of it, like, we read like Evola and, affiliated figures, like sort of early 20th century perennial philosophy, fascist people, like the futurists in Italy, I think. And then also we read some Dugin.
I was gonna say, if you don't bring up Dugin, then you're making a mistake here.
Wild. No, we read some Dugin. We read a lot of thinkers from the Nouvelle Droite in France. So like, I can't even remember. Like, they're all fucking batch. Like, they're insane people. But, for my term paper, what I ended up writing about was American evangelicalism. And, the refrain of many religious conservatives is, quote unquote, this is a country founded on Judeo-Christian values.
Yeah.
Now, and this is sort of what I'm talking about with this liberal inability or unwillingness to accept religiosity or understand religiosity, we need to take very seriously the proposition that this is a country founded on Judeo-Christian values.
For sure.
Not even we need to take seriously, we need to accept it as true. It is. We can
there is like a liberal notion that like, no, this was founded as a country devoid of like the church, or like the separation of church and state was very fundamental. It's like, no, they used the Bible to do manifest destiny politics. So you can't say like, oh yeah, no, the founding fathers didn't want us to like have a church that was
I think I've brought up before, maybe on the episode with document1.doc about Richard Slotkin, the historian. He's an Americanist. He wrote a trilogy of books on the American ideology, and he talks about the first volume is about colonial America and the founding of the country. In the he talks a lot about like shit like Cotton Mather's, if you know him, like the city on the hill, and that the new world is essentially this new Jerusalem. And it, it is a great disservice and impediment to effectively organizing against conservative religious fundamentalism to not study religious fundamentalism.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If you have convinced yourself that this is purely this kind of secular marketplace of intersectional oppressions that have to do with and I'm not at all saying that white supremacy or misogyny or what have you are not real entrenched institutional systems. They absolutely 100% are. To say otherwise is asinine. But the ultimate bedrock of that is Christianity, and a specific kind of Christianity, a really specifically American kind of Christianity. American fundamentalism is very different
it's blue eyes, blonde haired Jesus, right? Not the actual Jesus, but the concept of Jesus as like this Aryan super boy.
I mean, in a way, like Mormonism is kind of like rather than being an exception, it's the exemplar of American Christianity.
Of course,
because Mormonism does explicitly present a racial mythology of Christianity. And that's why I say it's the exemplar, because it the Indians are turned red because they reject God or Jesus.
But there's a white tribe that accepts Jesus, and also nobody Google how many Mormons are in the CIA, by the way.
Oh yeah, dude. So there's that, and then there's a significant amount of Catholics as well. Mormons, to extrapolate,
they're the best Americans.
No, they're the most American. Mormons are what Americans wish they were. They're fucking soulless, cold-blooded, thin-lipped, blue-eyed, blonde-haired fucking demon people who don't
I think we should just end it there. Mormons are demons.
They're the exemplar of just fucking rapacious capitalism.
You're completely correct, and like it's funny how like it's funny how like archetypal, I guess, or I don't even know if that's the right word, but like Mormonism used to have a thing against sugary beverages until until I think it's Pepsi is owned by a Mormon or something like that, and so they were like, "Nah, we don't care about that anymore because we just made a fuck ton of money off of this."
But that is exactly what I'm fucking talking about. Like that in itself that's America, baby.
Yeah, that is.
That's why this is a great country. And like I wanna say that this is a sort of fucking Tim Dillon take, but like because that's what I appreciate about him is his simultaneous disdain and love for this country. And let's be very clear about what this fucking country is. This country is not noble.
No.
It's not illustrious. It's not high-minded. It is that fucking fat couple.
It is the pigs wallowing in the mud.
Oh, it's people thinking, oh, should we head down to Applebee's for dinner? Like that's what it is. This country is one giant fucking Applebee's. That's it. It's microwave food that some fucking 15-year-old throws on a plate.
It's Applebee's. It's Olive Garden.
Yeah. To be fair, Olive Garden does actually have training programs in Italy. I didn't think that was true, but then I had a cousin who worked for Olive Garden and found out from him that
I'm going to cut this out of the recording. I refuse to accept that anything you're saying right now is true.
Shilling for Olive Garden?
Yeah, shilling for Olive Garden. Weird.
I've never had Olive Garden. I know they've got endless breadsticks. See, this is also no. You can't because this. Now we're like fully in the American psychosis of we went from talking about the CIA to religion to whatever the fuck, and now we're at Olive Garden has bottomless breadsticks. That's fucking it. That is truly it. It's
a very capitalistic notion for Olive Garden to expect to make infinite amounts of breadsticks in a finite world.
No, I mean that's how you teach. That's how you teach fifth graders about commodity production and the nature of capital and the nature of capital accumulation. So you have the tendency of capital towards infinite production opposed to finite resources. Absolutely. That's what I'm going to tell my fucking kids. I'm going to take them to Olive Garden. I'm going to say, you fucking sit there.
Do you think this can happen forever?
Yeah, right. Like, yeah.
Well, I think we cracked the code or something. I don't know what we did.
What we should do next time? We should we
should have an anchor like Sal back on or something. Someone who's got like a brain that still works.
I'm too frenetic and fucking
yeah.
I mean everything's for me. It's like everything's the CIA.
That's true though.
Yeah.
That's like the whole kill the cop in your head thing, man. Kill the CIA agent in your brain.
Yeah. Liberate yourself, man. Open your third eye.
Yeah. Well, my third eye is actually if I open up my third eye in public, I get arrested for indecent exposure. So
yeah, because your third eye is a brown starfish.
Yeah. All right, well, cool. Let's go ahead and end it there. If you listen to this whole thing, I'm so sorry. We will be back. Let's do this again next week, probably. Because we need to make up for lost time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hopefully, like, what do we want? Are we still going?
Yeah. No, I haven't stopped yet.
What do we want? What kind of sick, fucking, disgusting thing do we want to happen in the world this week that we can rage about next week? Let's work our imaginations right now. What do we want? What do we want this week? Do we want? I mean, we had this past week we had a natural disaster. That's not super interesting.
No.
That's just God punishing for us for homosexuality. We had a fucking Kanye drop. We had a Drake drop.
I want pictures of Joe Biden and Jeffrey Epstein to come out. Actual pictures.
I don't think that would ever happen.
I think it will.
Really? I don't think Biden's in those circles.
You know what? War with Iran. Let's just fucking do it. Yeah.
I'll say this. This is what we're going to end on. Iran is the only democracy in the Middle East.
Yes.
God bless.
We hate them. not you and I, but the country we live in hates that democracy.
Or America, or whatever the fuck those idiots say.
Yeah.
It's America.
America with 3 Ks.
Yeah.
Edgy.
Maybe Iran will abort America, man.
That hurt.
Yeah, I know. It's the white wine talking.
The white wine. Hey, why are you drinking white wine and not brown or black wine?
Oh shit! Damn, yeah. I haven't properly examined my wine of white supremacy. I will do better. Let me look.
I think Robin DiAngelo came out with another book, by the way.
Did she really? Fuck.
Yeah.
I didn't read the first one.
It was garbage. I listened to Adolph Reed's synopsis of it, and that was enough.
I mean, anything where it's like buy my book is baked into the platform. That's a grift. Same with her. It's her, Ibrahim Kendi, Ta-Nehisi Coates. Get out, and arguably she's the worst of them because she's white.
Yeah.
Like white people.
I think Bill Burr put it succinctly enough when he was on SNL not too long ago, and he got super canceled because he was like, white women are trying to be woke after decades and decades of supporting white men and all their fucking atrocities.
Right. Well, and then there's also even aside from, you can't argue with facts, right, guys? But white women have been the greatest beneficiaries of affirmative action, more so than people of color. And who was affirmative action created for? Was it white women or was it for people of color? What?
Well, we're rounding out the hour, and I think we'll just go ahead and cut it off here before we say something more problematic. And,
no calls for violence this episode. That's great.
Except I said that we should chop off the hands of abortion reporters.
You also did say Trump should be lynched.
I said he should be drugged behind a truck. I don't think I didn't use the L word. Anyways, we love you. Have a good night.
Take your meds, say your prayers, babies.
Hell yeah. Hi, Michael Deebs here, with no gun pointed at my head. Please know that all content created for the Benzo Rehab Dungeon is, and always will be, freely available. However, if you would like to support this creation of content, we here at Camp Benzo would appreciate it, as the production itself is not free of cost. Anything donated will go to covering the various subscription fees maintained for our content production, or improving and expanding the content produced. If you are able to, please head on over to patreon.com/BenzoRehabDungeon. We also have shirts for sale on Teespring, all priced as low as we can get them without turning much or any profit. They are mostly so that you can show your loved ones that a necessary intervention may be on the horizon. Links to the merchandise storefront and our various social media profiles can be found on our link tree, which is the word linktr.ee/BenzoRehabDungeon. As always, we love you. Please take your medicine.